Hello, everyone. Ex-Wallkill Bethelite and Lily here. And we're going to talk a little bit about Jehovah's Witnesses. And recently, I've heard people talking about a possible war with Russia. And they call it World War III. The worst war that could possibly happen. The worst war that we've ever seen, a nuclear Armageddon. I've literally heard the word used, Armageddon, and it wasn't Jehovah's Witnesses using it. I'm hearing it on the news. They're talking about something like that being a literal Armageddon. Now, that's something that'll get Jehovah's Witnesses stirred up. That's something that'll get them all worked up. Because if you guys remember, back when 9/11 happened, I think it was early 2000, when 9/11 happened, I was still a JW back then, still a brain dead cult member, right? And I remember going to the Kingdom Hall, and all these people that I had never really seen going to meetings all came all at the same time, and it was right after 9/11. Right after 9/11, all these people started coming to the Kingdom Hall. And it was because they thought that this could lead to Armageddon. The end of the world may be coming. Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses might be right. Oh, let's start attending meetings. Well, it ended up being a waste of their time and a waste of their gas, because after, I would say, about a good 4 or 5 months passed, no Armageddon, no Great Tribulation, none of that occurred. All those people went right back to not attending meetings anymore. And one of the main issues is that Jehovah's Witnesses are so vague when it comes to Armageddon, what it is, the end of the world, how exactly all this is going to happen, when it's going to happen. They're constantly making predictions, but these predictions are extremely vague, extremely inaccurate, and they're essentially guesses. I don't know if you guys have heard of Nostradamus. Very, very famous person who made predictions. And if you look up Nostradamus on YouTube, you'll find some interesting videos about him. Some predictions people think came true. That someone long, long, long ago made predictions that came true today. The issue is that anybody can be extremely vague. So vague that you can, a number of things could be my prediction if I'm just extremely vague, right? So some of Nostradamus' predictions were vague enough to where people think it could be fulfilled. Well, with Jehovah's Witnesses, there are no Nostradamus. You know what I mean? I don't think Nostradamus was confused as to whether or not he can and can't have a beard. You know what I mean? It's just stupid things like that. But when it comes to Jehovah's Witnesses, they are so vague that the members don't know what Armageddon is. If 9/11 happens, they don't know if that's leading to Armageddon. They hear about possible World War III with Russia. They don't know if that's leading to Armageddon. Come on now. Y'all have been talking about Armageddon for over 100 years. And you're so vague as to what it possibly is that anything that happens in the news, literally anything that happens on the damn news, You got some Jehovah Witness somewhere thinking it's the end of the damn world. That's how ridiculous this cult is. So if we really were to get into the doctrine, then we would realize that according to Jehovah's Witnesses, there's supposed to be a great tribulation. Now, this great tribulation involves governments turning on religion. It don't involve no planes flying into no buildings at 9/11. That's not what anybody was talking about. We studied the book of Revelation, talking about all kinds of locusts and things like that, and dragons and wild beasts and whatnot. Another vague book that Jehovah's Witnesses study. You would think that they knew a whole lot about Revelation, but they don't. They're just extremely vague. So with this whole constant, never-ending Armageddon scare, Jehovah's Witnesses need to realize that if there is a World War III with Russia, they ought to just all leave the religion, because that ain't how it's supposed to go down. The governments, according to Jehovah's Witnesses, we can't let them get away. We can't let them get away. Now, they're so vague that the members are constantly scared. Like if a firecracker goes off, they think it's Armageddon. They think Armageddon has started. That's how vague this organization that's supposed to be God's one and only true organization for the longest time. It's supposed to be God's one and only channel. It's so vague that, Jehovah's Witnesses, I used to think freaking thunder. There was a lightning bolt. Hit a tree. The tree was right in front of my house at the time. And big flash of light. For a second, I thought that was Armageddon. You got Jehovah's Witnesses running around rampant, thinking everything is Armageddon. Any little thing. We're down here, in Texas, where sometimes we have extreme weather. Well, you got Jehovah's Witnesses. They may be off in Florida somewhere where there's a hurricane coming. Any little thing scares them, frightens them into thinking it's Armageddon. And then when it's not, you got all these people that calm down. They go right back to doing what they usually do. And a lot of them stop attending meetings. Well, with this whole Russia thing, if there was a World War III, and if it's a nuclear war with Russia, Jehovah's Witnesses need to just throw the whole doctrine out. That ain't the government's going against religion. That's not the governments and everybody turning against Jehovah's Witnesses and then Jehovah starting Armageddon because, the governments are about to wipe out Jehovah's Witnesses. Those nuclear weapons don't care what religion you are. They don't care if you're not religious at all. You could be a Satanist for all them damn bombs care. They're not pursuing religion. That's a battle between governments, not governments against religion. This is something that Jehovah's Witnesses constantly talk about. Armageddon could come next year. Wait a minute. None of the stuff that y'all predicted that was going to happen in regards to the Great Tribulation has happened. The Great Tribulation is supposed to happen first. And they can't say, it's already happened, because the Great Tribulation is supposed to be an event worse than any event that has ever happened in mankind's history. And if I'm not mistaken, it's an event that is so great, it's something that would never even occur again. Like, essentially, the Great Tribulation is supposed to be the worst event that has ever happened and will ever happen, even in the future. Nothing ever will be this bad. So it's kind of hard to miss it. So Jehovah's Witnesses can't just jump to being afraid Armageddon is going to come and just forget their own damn doctrine. Their own teachings. This is the problem with Jehovah's Witnesses, is that Jehovah's Witnesses are a unique group, unlike any other group that has ever existed in any religion. There's no group that don't even know their own teachings. There's no group that don't have a specific leader and don't care who's leading them. There's very few groups that are like that. Now, you may have some Catholics, right? Or you may have Catholics that they may not necessarily, and I shouldn't, not all Catholics, right? Not all Catholics, but you may have some that may not know their Bible quite as well as they should, but they don't not care who the heck the Pope is. They don't not care, not even know who the heck the Pope is, right? There's no such thing as a group like Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses don't know half the governing body members. They don't care who they are. They will follow whoever. If you guys remember, Jehovah's Witnesses used to have a president. You had Nathan Noor, right? You had Joseph Rutherford, right? Jehovah's Witnesses technically shouldn't even exist if not for a group of people who will just follow whoever and whatever they're told. First, you have Charles Taze Russell. And then after Charles Taze Russell dies, Rutherford wasn't voted in. There was an upheaval and Rutherford took over. Like legally just went and took over that bad boy. And then they just started following him. Jehovah's Witnesses had no reason to follow Rutherford. But there's no such thing as a group of people like this. It don't matter who is in control of Watchtower. They're going to follow him. It don't matter how they got there. Rutherford, I don't think ever even claimed that God put him there. You even had a split. You had some people that left because they knew Charles Taze Russell died and Rutherford just took power. He saw an organization set up and he said, hey, I'm taking this thing over. How can I take it over? And he found out a way to do it. So some people left and then a group of people just stayed. No real reason to stay. But they did. And then eventually they went from having a president, and we'll follow this president, to a group, a governing body. There was no great upheaval and when did Jehovah just up and change his mind and why? No, Jehovah's Witnesses just up and follow who the hell ever. Oh, it's going to be a group now? Oh, okay. And then they just started following them. I don't know any group that's like that, where they had a founder, Charles Taze Russell, somebody else takes over and just throws out the freaking founder's teachings, the studies in the scriptures and all that stuff. And the members don't care that the freaking founder's teachings is been gotten rid of. The members don't care that the founder didn't appoint Rutherford. The members don't care whether it's a president or a group, a governing body. They don't care if the organization makes a completely false prediction, predicting the end of the world of 1975. They don't care. There's no group of people with an expectation that low or standard as low as Jehovah's Witnesses while at the same time judging everybody else. Jehovah's Witnesses judge everybody else, but they don't know who in the hell they're following, why they're following them. Half the teachings have been wrong. They don't care. It's everybody else, right? They want to go shun people. They don't have a reason to be shunning other people because they shouldn't be proud of their own religion. They go running to the Kingdom Hall anytime something happens on the news because their teachings are so off. That's not. They've been running to the Kingdom Hall scared anytime something happens on the news for like 100 years now. So if there's a World War III, Jehovah's Witnesses should all just say, hey, yeah, this is wrong. That would be about the only good thing about a World War III is Jehovah's Witnesses ought to at that point say, yeah, this could be the end of the world and this ain't how Watchtower predicted. Remember the book studies and how the book studies were supposed to be training for the Great Tribulation leading into Armageddon? People were supposed to be able to go into small groups and small homes, and that way, if Kingdom Halls got shut down, people could still meet. This is further evidence that what Watchtower was teaching was not about no World War III, with no Russia, with no nuclear weapons. Because meeting in those small houses ain't going to help with no nuclear weapons. It ain't going to matter whether you are in a small house in the book study or you are at a Kingdom Hall with nuclear weapons. And Jehovah's Witnesses ain't got no bunkers. They ain't been digging no bunkers. So they can't say they predicted this. Because if they predicted this, then they would have bunkers dug. Because they would have known 100 years ago that there was going to be a World War III. And that's how Armageddon was going to start. So I don't want to hear any Jehovah's Witnesses run around fear-mongering if there ends up being a war with Russia with a bunch of magazines in hand with a bunch of bombs falling and fire, pretending like, oh yeah, this is what we teach. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but I wouldn't put it past them. I definitely would not put it past them. So if there were, I mean, that would prove the teachings wrong. We haven't even been close to all the governments turning on religion. Not even close to it. If anything, it's the polar opposite in America. And America's the primary superpower. So religion has been about as safe as it can possibly be. Like you got In God We Trust on the freaking money here. Like this is supposed to be a religious country. What are they talking? Like it doesn't even make sense what Jehovah's Witnesses teach. And that's why even Jehovah's Witnesses are so confused as to when Armageddon is going to come, what's going to start it, why they're always afraid. And I think that fear sometimes distorts thought. Honestly, asking the question why Jehovah's Witnesses do things that just don't make no sense. In the sense of following whoever Watchtower puts in front of them, not knowing nothing about them. Not even mattering if what they're being taught is correct or not. If they publicly find out that half the things that they were taught were false, they just keep following them. Part of it, I think, is the fear. Like just being afraid, in a state of fear. A lot of times you're not thinking correctly. And it's definitely possible that you could have a group of people who are in a constant state of fear, constantly thinking Armageddon is coming, constantly afraid winged angels are going to come down out of heaven with, I guess, swords and bows and arrows and whatnot, and start whooping everybody's ass that doesn't follow along the Watchtower study. But, those sorts of things keep people afraid. And unfortunately, I think that that's part of the reason why you have so many people that stay in that religion. They just never think clearly. They're always afraid and never think clearly. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. You may have some people here who are Watchtower historians, and they can tell you exactly in the comments section what the teachings are in regards to Revelation, in regards to the Great Tribulation and Armageddon, and exactly how Watchtower taught that those things were supposed to occur. And post it down below in the comment section so we can compare it to what's going on today. Because in my opinion, a war with Russia is the polar opposite of what Jehovah's Witnesses are teaching. They weren't teaching that we're about to just all get vaporized. You know what I mean? So comment down below. XWalk Hill Bethelite signing out.